Hey guys, Don here. This video today is about how to move on from tragedy. And I really thought about whether I was going to talk about this topic, but I know that there are people out there that have maybe experienced this, or they just maybe experienced some other things that are pretty similar. What happened to me in my life that was pretty devastating, and I had to come into terms really even letting it out, was the day that my parents were killed. Now, I said other things in videos before where I used that word, and it wasn't that they were only killed, but they were pretty much robbed and murdered, and that's pretty harsh. But it's the truth. It's the truth. They were robbed and murdered. They were business people, and some guys plotted against them and killed them. And this was some time ago, but I wanted to express how I worked through that phase of my life to come to where I am now, because many people, they go through tragedies and really they just lose everything. They can't rebound or recoup from it. And I want to give you some principles on what I did to move on from that and to come into terms, because the first 6 months to a year, it's very normal to go through a grieving process. Not to mention, at the time I was in college, and my college only allowed 9 months hardship status to go back, and I had a college scholarship to hold on to it. And of course, going and settling my parents' estate, they had businesses. I had to go down with my family and to take over and manage, because they were still going on and active. It took longer than 9 months, so I ended up not only losing my hardship status, in my scholarship, I had to pay out of pocket for the rest of my college education, which was kind of like a stinger, because it was like, not to mention I was still going through the tragedy, but having to do that. I remember the things that my mother and my father would tell me to keep moving, because in life, you're always going to have some type of negative event, but how you rebound and make it a positive thing is it's just going to be the basis of your success. So I knew that I had to keep moving. I continued. I got jobs outside of school. There was some money that I did have left to be able to supplement me going to school, but I did have to work. I had to work my butt off, sometimes maybe not sleeping for 3 days on end. And I'm not saying that college is worth that for everyone, but just going from me and getting it done was just worth it enough, and that was just something that I felt like I had to get it done. I had to get this done. And at the same time, I was trying to come into terms of my parents' death, because the people that killed them weren't found. It took about a couple years, and it was one of those things where it was like losing hope, to knowing the question of like closure, because when people die, you don't know why and how, or things happen. There's no closure. You don't know why it had to happen, and all of a sudden for both of them, it was very devastating. I was in my early 20s, and I really didn't have anyone at the time to refer back to. I didn't have any older people in my family to go to for advice. I didn't have anyone to look up to. So I really had to come into terms with myself and my spirituality, and I held on to my wife, of course, and I was a father, and I had to really step it up to get in a position that I was in to overcome that. And what I'm trying to say here is that you're going to come to a point in your life where something's going to happen. It's going to be very negative. It's what we do with that negative situation to rebound, to make it positive. I think back when we lost our home to foreclosure and we had nowhere to go. We had to make a choice, and we moved on, and we were in a hotel at the time. That wasn't as severe, even other than losing my parents, but we made decisions to rebound from that, and we made it. So we had financial success, and anyone can do this. Anyone can go through that far down of feeling, that low, and not knowing where to go in life, and come up and really have, the best life that you have, because your spiritual level and your understanding of where you are in your life has to increase. You have to come into terms that life is full of things that will happen to you that are very negative. It's what we do with those things that make them positive. It's how we control our circumstances in the midst of going through something very negative, and that's what makes us stronger people. no one was there for me. I mean, I had some family members there for me, but they didn't have to live with the fact that I had to live with that other than my direct brother or my sister. We had to live with the pain of that. But other people just didn't understand because it didn't happen to them. And some of people they still have their parents. And I tell them, you need to really tell your parents you love them all the time and know that you're blessed, because once you're gone, they don't come back. It's just, that's just the way it is. So a lot of people still don't get it, but moving on from a negative experience, you have to put it into perspective that, hey, this is negative. I'm going to go through the grieving process. I'm going to get through this, and I'm going to move on. And that's it. Really simple, of just moving on through something very tragic and bad and making it a positive thing. In my case, being able to express myself to other people, sharing my past hurts, habits and hangups, and how I overcome all my negative past experiences, to be able to be an example for people to know that, hey, we all go through this and we're all, on the same page in life. We're not perfect. We're all learning. We're all human. And that's what's the most beautiful thing about it. So I just wanted to share that with you today, and enjoy the rest of your day and your weekend.